In the sixth aliyah of Yitro, heaven touches earth. And Adonai came down on Mount Sinai to the top of the mountain, and Adonai called Moshe up to the top of the mountain, and Moshe went up. Exodus 19:20. The people are standing at the lowest part of the mountain. Adonai descends from the heavens and touches the top of the mountain. He calls Moshe to come up and meet him, but he warns the people to stay consecrated and to stay outside the boundaries. Adonai comes down. Moshe and Aaron go up. They meet at the top of the mountain, but the rest of the people are not invited to come that close. What is Adonai doing? Adonai desires a relationship with his people, but as people, we have all sinned and fallen short of his glory. We cannot stand in his presence face to face. Our sin has separated us from him. He comes down to be with us, but we cannot come too close or we'll die. Moshe acts as a mediator, a person who goes to God and gets his messages and takes them back to his people. He prays on behalf of his people for mercy from God. The boundary around the mountain is like the curtain in the temple. Moshe could cross the boundary and meet face to face with God, and the Kohen HaGadol could enter through the curtain on Yom Kippur and meet with God. The boundary and the curtain represent our sin, which separates us from the holy God. When Yeshua died, the curtain in the temple split into, ripped from top to bottom. Yeshua, a prophet like Moses, but more than Moses, the Son of God, like the Kohen HaGadol, but eternal, Yeshua has torn the dividing wall of hostility between the holy God and his people. The dividing wall of sin, fully paying our debts, so that when Adonai calls us to come up, we can run up the mountain and into his arms. And he calls us to be a holy nation, a nation of priests. What do? We abide in him. We live in his commandments. And these are the 10 commandments he gave us on that awesome day. I am Adonai your God. You shall have no other gods before me. You must not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Remember the Sabbath day. Honor your father and your mother. Do not murder. Do not commit adultery. Do not steal. Do not bear false witness against your neighbor. Do not covet anything that belongs to your neighbor. These are basic rules for a good life, a life that honors God and shines his light in this dark world. And that is what we are called to do as a holy nation, a nation of priests. Love God, love people, and bring people closer to God, as Moshe and Yeshua did. And in the end, Adonai and his people will be in the closest of relationships, like a bride and groom. Revelation 21:2 says, "The holy city, the new Jerusalem, comes down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. She is radiant, and she has 12 gates for the 12 tribes. There is no temple, for the temple is Adonai Elohei Tzavaot, and the Lamb. The glory of God is its lamp. The nations walk by its light, and the gates are always open for those whose names are written in the book of life." When Adonai touched down on Mount Sinai and called Moshe up, he showed us the end from the beginning. At Mount Sinai, he called us into relationship with him, and in the days to come, we will be his bride. So, let us live holy, abiding in his words, according to his commandments, for he is holy. Shabbat Shalom.